What if I told you there's a secret success formula, a formula that when mastered could completely transform your life and take you from where you are to where you've always wanted to be? Most people are chasing success, but they don't know the exact steps that will lead them there. Today we're uncovering that hidden formula, the key principles that high achievers live by. Whether it's mastering your mindset, taking relentless action, or raising your standards, success is a result of consistent, powerful habits. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll have the tools to start applying this formula in your own life and unlock the success you've always dreamed of. Welcome to Motivate Track. Let's dive in. Raise your standards. Your life right now is a reflection of the standards you've been willing to accept. Think about that. Everything you have, everything you don't have, the way you feel, the way you look, the quality of your relationships, your income, your career, it all comes down to what you've been willing to settle for. People don't get what they want in life, they get what they must have. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who stay stuck isn't luck, talent, or resources. It's the standard they hold for themselves. Successful people demand more from life, from their work, from their relationships, and most importantly, from themselves. They don't tolerate excuses, laziness, or mediocrity. They don't allow themselves to fall into patterns of procrastination or self-doubt. They raise their standards so high that anything less than success is unacceptable. Think about Olympic athletes. Do they train when they feel like it? No, they train because it's who they are. Their standard is peak performance, and anything below that is not an option. They wake up early, push through pain, and do what others refuse to do. Not because they should, but because they've conditioned themselves to operate at that level. Their identity is tied to their standard, and because of that, they achieve what most people consider impossible. Think about your health. If your standard is, I don't want to be overweight, that's a low standard. That just means you'll do the bare minimum to not gain excessive weight. But if your standard is, I am a person who takes care of my body, fuels it with the best nutrition, and trains it to be, what if I told you there's a secret success formula? A formula that when mastered could completely transform your life and take you from where you are to where you've always wanted to be. Most people are chasing success, but they don't know the exact steps that will lead them there. Today, we're uncovering that hidden formula, the key principles that high achievers live by. Whether it's mastering your mindset, taking relentless action, or raising your standards, success is a result of consistent, powerful habits. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll have the tools to start applying this formula in your own life and unlock the success you've always dreamed of. Welcome to Motivation Track. Let's dive in. Raise your standards. Your life right now is a reflection of the standards you've been willing to accept. Think about that. Everything you have, everything you don't have, the way you feel, the way you look, the quality of your relationships, your income, your career, it all comes down to what you've been willing to settle for. People don't get what they want in life. They get what they must have. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who stay stuck isn't luck, talent, or resources. It's the standard they hold for themselves. Successful people demand more from life, from their work, from their relationships, and most importantly, from themselves. They don't tolerate excuses, laziness, or mediocrity. They don't allow themselves to fall into patterns of procrastination or self-doubt. They raise their standards so high that anything less than success is unacceptable. Think about Olympic athletes. Do they train when they feel like it? No, they train because it's who they are. Their standard is peak performance, and anything below that is not an option. They wake up early, push through pain, and do what others refuse to do, not because they should, but because they've conditioned themselves to operate at that level. Their identity is tied to their standard, and because of that, they achieve what most people consider impossible. Think about your health. If your standard is, I don't want to be overweight, that's a low standard. That just means you'll do the bare minimum to not gain excessive weight. But if your standard is, I am a person who takes care of my body, fuels it with the best nutrition, and trains it to be strong and energetic, then you'll naturally do the things necessary to be fit and healthy. You won't have to force yourself to go to the gym. You'll go because it's part of who you are. The same applies to your finances. If your standard is just to pay the bills, that's exactly what you'll do, barely get by. But if your standard is to create wealth, to be financially free, to be the kind of person who builds businesses, invests, and grows their income, then you'll start taking actions that align with that identity. Take massive action. Most people know what they need to do. They have dreams, they have goals, they have ideas, but they never move. They never take real action. They hesitate, overthink, and wait for the perfect moment that never comes. They tell themselves they'll start when they feel more confident, when they have more money, when they have more time. And because of that, they stay stuck. Look at the most successful people in the world. Do you think they got there by waiting, by playing it safe? No, they took risks. They moved before they were ready. They jumped in and figured things out along the way. They didn't let fear stop them because they understood that action creates clarity. When you take action, you get feedback, you learn, you adjust, and you move forward faster than anyone else. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they need to know everything before they start. That's a lie. You don't need to know everything, you just need to start. Every great entrepreneur, every world-class athlete, every leader who has ever made an impact started with uncertainty. They started with doubt, but they didn't let it paralyze them. They took action despite it. Most people spend their lives preparing. They research, they plan, they analyze, but they never execute. They convince themselves that they're making progress when, in reality, they're just delaying the real work. Action is the only thing that moves you forward. The problem is most people never build momentum because they stop before they start. They hesitate, they doubt themselves, they take one small step and then retreat when things get hard. But if you commit to massive action, if you go all in and refuse to stop, then momentum will carry you further than you ever imagined. Here's the key. You must take action before you feel ready. If you wait until you feel confident, you'll never start. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. The more you do, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more confident you become. It's a cycle, and it starts with your decision to move. There will always be obstacles. There will always be challenges. But if you commit to relentless action, nothing will stop you. Most people stop at the first sign of failure. They take a few steps forward, hit a wall, and give up. But those who succeed, they don't see failure as an endpoint. They see it as feedback. They learn from it, they adapt, and they keep moving forward. There is no secret formula. There is no perfect plan. The only thing that separates those who succeed from those who don't is action. The people who win in life are the ones who do more. They make more calls, they take more risks, they put in more effort, and because of that, they get more results. Understand this, the right time will never come. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The only thing that matters is that you start right now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Take action, take massive action, and watch how quickly everything in your life begins to change. Master your mindset. Everything in life starts in your mind. The way you think determines the way you act, and the way you act determines the results you get. If you don't control your mind will control you. Most people allow their thoughts to run on autopilot. They let fear, doubt, and negativity dictate their actions, and as a result, they stay stuck in the same patterns, wondering why they can't break through. The truth is, your external world is a direct reflection of your internal world. If you want to change your results, you must first change your mindset. Most people are programmed to focus on what's missing, what's wrong, and what could go wrong. They live in a state of fear, constantly worrying about failure, rejection, and disappointment. But fear is just an illusion. It's a mental construct that only has power if you give it power. The most successful people in the world feel fear just like everyone else, but they don't let it stop them. They acknowledge it, they reframe it, and they take action anyway. Your mind is like a muscle, and just like any muscle, it needs to be trained. If you don't actively work on strengthening it, it will default to old patterns of negativity and self-doubt. This is why successful people spend time every day conditioning their minds. They read empowering books, they listen to inspiring voices, and they surround themselves with people who push them forward. They are intentional about the thoughts they allow to take root, because they understand that thoughts create beliefs. Beliefs create actions, and actions create results. Most people underestimate the power of repetition. Your mind believes whatever you tell it most often. If you constantly feed it thoughts of doubt, insecurity, and limitation, that's what you will manifest in your life. But if you fill it with confidence, determination, and resilience, you will create unstoppable momentum that propels you forward. The key is to make this a daily practice. You can't just work on your mindset once and expect lasting change. You must condition it every single day until it becomes second nature. The people you surround yourself with also play a massive role in your mindset. If you are constantly around negative, complaining, excuse-making individuals, their mindset will rub off on you. But if you immerse yourself in an environment of winners, go-getters, and high achievers, their energy will lift you up. This is why successful people are intentional about their relationships. They don't waste time with people who drain their energy. They seek out those who inspire them, challenge them, and push them to grow. Most people go through life reacting to whatever happens to them. They let circumstances dictate their mood, their motivation, and their actions. But the people who truly succeed are the ones who take control of their thoughts, their emotions, and their decisions. They refuse to be victims of their environment. They take ownership of their lives and create their own reality. This level of mental mastery is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who stay stuck in mediocrity. Create an unstoppable ritual. Mastering your mindset for success, it's not a one-time event. It's not something you stumble upon by chance. It's a result of the habits and rituals you repeat every single day. The most successful people in the world don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. They have built systems that ensure they show up, take action, and make progress regardless of how they feel. The reason most people fail is that they rely on willpower. They think that if they just try hard enough, they'll stay consistent. But willpower is like a battery. It runs out. And when it does, people fall back into old patterns of procrastination and inconsistency. This is why rituals are so powerful. They remove the need for willpower and make success automatic. Every great achiever has a set of daily habits that prime them for success. They wake up early, they exercise, they read, they meditate, and they set clear intentions for their day. These small actions might not seem significant on their own, but over time, they create massive results. One of the most powerful rituals you can develop is a morning routine. The way you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you wake up late, rush through your morning, and start your day in a state of stress, that energy will carry over into everything you do. But if you start your day with purpose, focus, and discipline, you set yourself up for success before the day even begins. Most people waste the first hour of their day checking their phones, scrolling through social media, and consuming negativity. But high performers use that time to fuel their minds and bodies. They practice gratitude, they visualize their goals, they move their bodies, and they set clear intentions. This isn't about doing what feels good in the moment. It's about setting yourself up for long-term success. Another key ritual is goal setting. The most successful people in the world don't just set vague wishes like, I want to be successful or I want to make more money. They set clear, specific, measurable goals and create a plan to achieve them. They write down their goals daily, they review their progress, they adjust their strategies, they stay laser focused on what they want, and they don't allow distractions to pull them off course. What you do consistently is what shapes your life. If you consistently take care of your health, you will be fit and strong. If you consistently invest in your personal growth, you will become more capable and confident. If you consistently take action toward your goals, you will achieve them. It's not about doing one big thing once. It's about doing small things every single day. Success is not a mystery. It's a formula, and that formula is built on the rituals and habits you create for yourself. Burn the boats. When you give yourself a way out, you will always take it. The moment things get tough, that's human nature. When we know we have an escape route, a safety net, or a backup plan, we don't give our full commitment. We hold back, hesitate, and second guess ourselves because deep down we know there's another option. But the people who succeed at the highest level are the ones who eliminate plan B. They remove any possibility of retreat, forcing themselves to find a way forward no matter what. History proves this again and again. When ancient warriors landed on enemy shores, their leaders would order the boats burned. Why? Because when there was no way to retreat, no way to go back, the only option was to fight with everything they had. This level of commitment created an intensity that led to victory. The same principle applies in life. When you cut off your escape routes and make failure not an option, you tap into a level of drive and determination that most people never experience. Burning the boats doesn't mean being reckless. It doesn't mean acting without strategy or preparation. It means committing at a level that most people never do. It means making a decision so powerful that there is no turning back. When you take this kind of action, your brain shifts. You no longer waste time on doubt or hesitation because you have no choice but to make it work. The biggest mistake people make is leaving room for self-doubt. They say, if this doesn't work, I can always do something else. That mindset keeps them from pushing through the discomfort required to succeed. They quit when things get hard because they've already given themselves an exit. But the people who truly succeed are the ones who remove that option entirely. They decide that no matter what, they will find a way. Think about entrepreneurs who risk everything to build a business. The ones who succeed are not the ones who casually try something and hope for the best. They are the ones who put everything on the line. They invest their time, energy, and resources with absolute certainty that they will succeed. That level of belief and commitment forces them to operate at a different level. They find solutions where others see obstacles. They persist where others give up. Burning the boats is about developing an unshakable mindset. It's about conditioning yourself to operate at peak performance because there is no other option. When you remove the possibility of failure, your mind focuses entirely on finding solutions, creating opportunities, and taking action with relentless intensity. Every great success story involves someone who made an all or nothing decision. They didn't just try to make it work, they made it their mission. They burned the boats and committed fully, and because of that, they achieved what others only dream about. Focus on solutions, not problems. Most people spend their lives focusing on problems. They talk about what's wrong, why things aren't fair, and why they can't get ahead. They dwell on obstacles, setbacks, and limitations, reinforcing a mindset of helplessness. But successful people operate differently. They don't waste time complaining or making excuses. They train themselves to focus on solutions. They understand that whatever you focus on expands, and by shifting their focus to possibilities, they open the door to breakthroughs. Your brain is designed to find answers to the questions you ask. If you constantly ask yourself, why is this happening to me? Or why do things never work out? Your brain will search for reasons that justify those beliefs. But if you ask yourself, how can I turn this around? Or what's the next best move I can make? Your brain will start looking for opportunities and solutions. The questions you ask determine the quality of your life. When challenges arise, most people freeze. They get stuck in fear and overwhelm, convincing themselves that there's no way out. But the truth is, there is always a way forward. You just have to train yourself to see it. The people who succeed in life are the ones who stay solution-oriented no matter what. They don't dwell on problems longer than necessary. They acknowledge them, assess them, and immediately shift into problem-solving mode. The reason most people fail to achieve their goals is that they get stuck in problem-focused thinking. They spend hours, days, even years dwelling on obstacles instead of taking action. How you respond. Some people see obstacles as stop signs. Others see them as stepping stones. Some people let problems control them, while others take control and find a way to win. Every successful person has faced adversity. They have encountered failure, rejection, and setbacks that would make most people quit. But instead of focusing on what went wrong, they focused on what they could do next. They looked for ways to turn setbacks into comebacks. They trained themselves to see problems as opportunities in disguise. Shifting from problem-finkered thinking to solution-finkered thinking is a skill. It requires constant practice. It requires training your mind to break old patterns of negativity and replace them with empowering beliefs. But once you make this shift, everything in your life changes. You stop feeling stuck. You stop feeling powerless. You start taking control and creating momentum. Life will always throw challenges your way. That's a guarantee. But how you respond is entirely up to you. You can choose to focus on what's wrong, or you can train yourself to find a way forward. You can choose to dwell on the problem, or you can commit to finding the solution. Take massive, relentless action. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect time, the right opportunity, or the ideal circumstances before they take action. But successful people don't wait, they move. They take massive, relentless action, even when they don't have all the answers. They don't wait for confidence to show up. They build confidence through action. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates results. The more you do, the more you learn, the more you adapt, and the more you grow. Waiting leads to stagnation, but action leads to transformation. The problem is that most people overthink. They analyze, hesitate, and talk themselves out of taking action because they're afraid of failure. But inaction is the real failure. Every successful person has failed countless times, but what separates them is their willingness to keep going despite setbacks. They don't let fear stop them. They use it as fuel. They don't wait for motivation. They create it through movement. Massive action means going all in, doing more than expected, and pushing beyond comfort zones. People underestimate what they're capable of because they operate at a fraction of their potential. They set small goals, take minimal steps, and wonder why they don't see extraordinary results. But breakthroughs happen when you go beyond what's normal. When you work harder, push further, and refuse to accept mediocrity, you create opportunities that most people will never experience. Success isn't about luck. It's about doing what others aren't willing to do. Taking massive action also means being adaptable. Things won't always go as planned, and that's okay. What matters is time to take action, that you keep adjusting, learning, and improving. You don't stop because something doesn't work. You find a new way to make it work. Too many people quit after the first setback, but the ones who succeed are those who push through resistance, refine their strategies, and stay committed until they get results. Most people work hard for a short period and then slow down when they don't see immediate results. But success is not about short bursts of effort. It's about sustained, consistent action. It's about showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about putting in the work when no one is watching, trusting that the process will pay off. The key is to create habits of action where doing the work becomes second nature. The more action you take, the easier it gets and the faster you move towards your goals. Build unbreakable discipline. Motivation is temporary, but discipline lasts. Most people rely on motivation to get things done, but motivation fades. Some days you feel inspired and some days you don't. But discipline is what keeps you going no matter how you feel. It's about doing what needs to be done even when you don't want to. The people who achieve massive success aren't the ones who only work when they feel good. They're the ones who commit to the process regardless of their emotions. Discipline is built through habits. It's the small, consistent actions you take every day that shape your future. Successful people don't negotiate with themselves. They don't make excuses or give in to distractions. They wake up early, stick to their routines, and follow through on their commitments. They train themselves to do the hard things even when it's uncomfortable. The more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes and the easier it gets to stay on track. One of the biggest obstacles to success is inconsistency. People start strong but lose focus when challenges arise. They let their emotions dictate their actions, which leads to a cycle of progress and regression. But discipline eliminates this inconsistency. It creates a foundation where success becomes inevitable because you're taking the right actions every day, regardless of external circumstances. Discipline is also about controlling your environment. If you surround yourself with distractions, negativity, and temptation, staying disciplined will be difficult. But if you set up your life to support your goals by eliminating distractions, creating routines, and surrounding yourself with high achievers, you make discipline automatic. Successful people don't rely on willpower alone. They structure their lives in a way that makes success the default. Another key to discipline is accountability. When you hold yourself accountable or have someone else hold you accountable, you're more likely to follow through. That's why elite athletes have coaches and successful entrepreneurs have mentors. They create systems that force them to stay on track. The more you reinforce discipline with accountability, the stronger it becomes, and the less likely you are to fall into patterns of procrastination or excuse making. Most people think discipline is restrictive, but the truth is, discipline is freedom. It gives you control over your time, your results, and your life. When you master discipline, you no longer depend on fleeting motivation. You take action consistently, build unstoppable momentum, and create a future where success is no longer a possibility, it's a guarantee. Control your mind or it will control you. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, but if you don't control it, it will control you. Most people let their thoughts dictate their emotions, decisions, and actions without realizing they have the power to take charge. The mind is constantly generating thoughts, some empowering, some destructive. Successful people train themselves to override negative thoughts and replace them with beliefs that push them forward. They don't allow fear, doubt, or insecurity to take control. They consciously direct their focus towards what strengthens them rather than what weakens them. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thoughts. If you allow negativity to dominate your thinking, you will sabotage your own progress. The brain is wired for survival, which means it tends to focus on what can go wrong. But you are not your thoughts. You are the thinker. You have the ability to reprogram your mind, shift your focus, and cultivate a mindset that drives success. One of the most effective ways to take control of your mind is by mastering your internal dialogue. The words you say to yourself shape your reality. If you constantly tell yourself you're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough, those beliefs will manifest in your actions. But if you consistently reinforce empowering beliefs, you create a mental environment that fuels confidence, action, and achievement. Your mind is like a muscle. It strengthens with repetition. The more you feed it with positive, success-driven thoughts, the stronger it becomes. Most people allow their minds to be influenced by external circumstances, social conditioning, and past experiences, but those who succeed take charge of what they allow in. They filter out negativity, surround themselves with inspiration, and condition their minds to operate at peak performance. Another key to controlling your mind is emotional mastery. Emotions are powerful, but they should not dictate your action. Successful people feel fear, doubt, and frustration like everyone else, but they don't let those emotions control them. They acknowledge them, process them, and move forward despite them. The ability to stay composed, focused, and driven, regardless of emotional ups and downs, is what separates those who achieve great success from those who don't. Raise your standards and never settle. The life you live is a reflection of the standards you accept. If you accept average, you will live an average life. If you demand excellence from yourself, you will find a way to reach new levels of success. Most people settle for what's comfortable, but the most successful individuals operate with a different mindset. They refuse to tolerate mediocrity in any area of their life. They set high standards for their health, relationships, business, and personal growth, and they hold themselves accountable to those standards every single day. Raising your standards means eliminating excuses. It means deciding that you will no longer accept anything less than what you are truly capable of. People who settle often tell themselves stories about why they can't achieve more. They justify their limitations instead of challenging them. But those who succeed break free from those excuses. They take ownership of their results and commit to constantly raising the bar. Your standards determine your actions, and your actions determine your results. If you set low standards, you will take minimal action and get minimal results. But if you expect more from yourself, you will push harder, go further, and achieve what others consider impossible. High achievers don't wait for opportunities, they create them. They don't hope for success, they demand it from themselves by holding themselves to a level that most people won't. One of the most powerful ways to raise your standards is by surrounding yourself with people who expect more. If you spend time with people who accept average, you will lower your standards to fit in. But if you immerse yourself in an environment of high achievers, their mindset, habits, and energy will elevate your own. The fastest way to grow is to be around people who challenge and inspire you. Most people think raising their standards is about wanting more, but it's deeper than that. It's about making a decision that you will no longer settle. It's about committing to a vision so strong that you refuse to accept anything less. It's about holding yourself to a level of excellence even when no one is watching. When you raise your standards, everything in your life changes because you start operating at a level that demands results instead of hoping for them. So there you have it, the secret success formula that so many people are missing. By committing to massive action, taking control of your mind, raising your standards, and building unbreakable discipline, you can change the course of your life. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for motivation to show up. Create it through action. Control your thoughts and emotions, because if you don't, they'll control you. Eliminate distractions, burn the boats, and focus only on your solutions, not your problems. When you elevate your mindset, you elevate your life. Remember, success is no accident. It's the result of your relentless pursuit and unwavering commitment. If you want to start seeing results, start applying these principles today. Don't settle for anything less than extraordinary. Stay committed, stay focused, and watch as you unlock the power within you. This is Tony Robbins Track, and we're here to help you stay motivated and reach your highest potential. Until next time, keep pushing forward.